wasn't that close, but got a little bit nerve-wracking late as the Detroit Pistons fired back at this one. The Jazz jumped early, led by 28 in the third quarter, led by 20 for much of the second, and rolled. Also set another 3-point record by the Jazz tonight. We'll be talking about all of that coming up on Postcast. Hi, I'm David Locke. This is Postcast immediately after every Jazz game, live on Periscope at DLock09, live at Locked On Live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube for you after every single Jazz game. Jazz hold on to win 117-105. You can focus a lot on the second half where they got outscored. I thought Tim Lacombe had a nice comment in our post-game show tonight where he said, we call this a check-the-box game. Once the guys knew the box was checked, it's pretty hard to have them stay in line. The Jazz were great early tonight. Mike Conley had 9 in the first quarter. Donovan Mitchell had 8. Donovan put it up to 15 in the second half, had 30 by the end of 3. The Jazz led 94-77 at the end of 3. They led 69-46 at the half, and they led 33-22 at the end of 1. They took a double-digit lead early. They led for 47 minutes and 28 seconds. 47 minutes and 32 seconds, which interestingly enough is the exact same amount that they led for the game in Detroit. 47 minutes and 32 seconds. Leading by any more than that's virtually impossible. So the Jazz absolutely dominated this basketball game tonight. Detroit had a miserable shooting first half. They shot 30% in the first half, 21% from 3. There aren't a lot of like X's and O's and strategy things for me to bring to the table for you today. At least that's my take on it. The Jazz came out. They executed the play. They knew what to do defensively. They got out running early. They got the stops, and then they ran. The outlet passes I thought were fabulous. Got Donovan, got Mike in the open floor, and got it rolling from that standpoint. So I don't think there's a lot of huge X's and O's aspects of this. I mean, the Jazz executed the game plan against an inferior team. They knew, as Mike Wells said to us at halftime, who to close out on, who not to close out on. And so they played that very, very well, and in turn got out, played a lot in transition. I'll check some of the numbers on this one tonight. I haven't actually checked a lot of them. The Jazz offensive rating by the end of 3 quarters was a 124, which is brilliant. The defensive rating was a 102, which is brilliant. I'm sure it won't be by the end of the night. The Jazz just have been ahead by a lot in these games. This was the 12th time in 21 games the Jazz have led by 20. And so they blew them out. The fact of the matter is, final numbers, according to Clean the Glass, still had the Detroit at a 104, the Jazz at a 116. So nothing there. Only thing that's interesting tonight, only 21 shots at the rim, according to Clean the Glass. Jazz do not get to the rim against Detroit very well. A lot of floaters, 17 floaters tonight in the mid-range. Detroit does a good job. Only 2 long twos. The Jazz, once again, got double-digit corner threes. They've had that in every game but one for the last 12 of the last 13 games. Where they're getting their corner threes, and the Jazz set an NBA record tonight, being the first team ever in NBA history to have 15 or more made threes in 11 straight games. So that's my take on tonight. Pretty simple. Jazz is the better team. They did what a better team does, and they led for most of the night. Let's get to your questions and your comments. Michael, is Bogey getting his groove back? It's pretty. You know what? Bogey's groove has been off in the mid at the rim and in the non-restricted area too. If I pull up the Jazz player shooting coming into the game, Bogey was 47% at the rim. He'd hit 5 or 6 straight. And then he was 31% in the paint non-restricted area. I don't think he was greatly different of that tonight, frankly. I can pull up the shot chart, I think, and find it. But I think tonight Bogey at the rim was fine. He missed those paint non-restricted area thoughts, and he's now at probably 40% on 3-point shots for the season. 4 of 8 tonight. He's back up to 40%. So, when you look at him, I think that, he's really not as far off as we've made him seem. He's just really struggled at the rim and the way he's been playing at the rim and in the paint non-restricted area. And that's really been the issue. I'll look and see if I can find the box score. I cannot find it. It's not on the correct thing for you. So we'll get that. Eric Wood says, love the win. And again, love my love of Grant continues. He's done a nice job in that role. It's hard to tell though. He's on such a bad, 20, someone's got to score. Like the league rules mean that they score 90 points a night. Like someone's got to score. He's going to average 20. We got to get vote all-stars. They count twice today, so do get your all-stars votes in, says Jason. Good point. Back in first place, says Joshua. Absolutely. Jazz have the best record. The yellow jerseys are supposed to be cursed, says Stitch 1280 from Twitch tonight. That is not the truth. Paul says, ugh, too close, but I'll take the win. Really? Ugh, too close. We're supposed to lead by 20 the whole way. Was the fall apart in the fourth quarter due to mental lapse? It's because Detroit plays really hard. Their young guys took the game from the Jazz. And because, quite frankly, I thought it's a great line. The Jazz had checked the box. They were going to win that game. Like, I can pull the numbers. There have been like 5 teams out of, let me see if I can find it again. Over the last 5 years, there have been 851 teams that have led by 20. 846 won. Sacramento has actually lost 3 of those 5. I don't know why, but they have. So it's not like you're going to get a bunch of guys who, you know, they know they're going to hold on and win that game. Daniel says, not going to lie, I was scared for a bit. So happy Bogey hit those shots. Hey, it gave me a chance to make a big call. Xavier says, Royce's rebounding was a lifesaver. Royce has just done a lot of stuff. He's figuring out how to play as a starter on this group and in his second year as a starter, and that's it. Jason says, a lot of hate on Rudy tonight on Twitter. I thought he played okay. I think there cannot be a more miserable matchup than Mason Plumlee and Isaiah Stewart. I'll bet Rudy's as tired tonight as he was on any night all year against anyone. Those guys play harder and more physically than any 48-minute center combo in the league. Partially because that's what they got to do, because they're not that skilled. But they're not taking a play off. They were incredible. Joshua says, how hard is it to pull out a win after letting a big lead go? I actually don't think it's that hard. Honestly, like all they had to do was make 1 or 2 plays, and they just made them. Like, eventually you hit a 3, eventually you get a steal, eventually you get a stop. Like, I mean, honestly, guys, like if we just want to do like the math for a second, you're up 17 going in the fourth quarter. We played 100 possessions, so you're up 17. There's only 25 possessions on each side. Like, you really have got to like fall apart pretty colossally to have it happen. I mean, I think we let go of the rope, but like, honestly, to blow a 17-point lead with 25 possessions on each side, you're not going to allow more than like 1.5 points per possession. So like at best, they're going to score like 34, 35 points. You've got to score like 15. Like, it's not that hard. Just like eventually you hit a few shots. Honestly, I'm not like it feels worse. The best example is the game like was an 8-point game. They got down to 4. You're totally panicked. Bogey hits a 3. It's like 7 like that. Like, oh, okay, we're all right. Hits another one. It's 11. It's okay. Dustin says Clarkson's off the bounce 3 seems to be one of the best on the team. Surprisingly this year, I think it actually is. I have not run the numbers recently. I'll update that for the road trip and have that, but he has been very good. The off the bounce 3 is the revolution that's taking place in the NBA. If you listen to Locked On Jazz today, we touched on it. We didn't touch on it as deeply as we probably should have. It's actually a bigger story than I made it sound today. There are 13 teams in the NBA that are shooting over 36% on off the bounce 3s. Last year there was 1. It was San Antonio. They only took 5 a game. So really there were none. That's the revolution that's happening in the NBA right now, is the ability of players to hit the off the bounce 3. JJ, thanks for the nice comments. Gustavo wants me to, like, I call him Rolls Royce all the time. Gustavo, you clearly don't listen to my call. I know you're burying me on Twitter for not having good enough nicknames. I'm all good with that because I'm not a nickname guy. I don't do it. I don't have signature calls. I don't have nicknames. I'm not that creative. But I call a corner 3 from Rolls Royce a Rolls Royce every time. Just to let you know. And Andy's got to jump in before the night's over because he always does. Is any of what we're doing not going to happen in the playoffs? We are so good. Yeah, we're going to play the Clippers or the Lakers, who are super long, and it's going to be interesting whether we can make the same passes and move the ball as well. That's the issue. Clippers are really good. They lost to Brooklyn tonight. That could be the NBA Finals. Have a good one. See you.